Hello, my name is Lee Cooper, and this is my Module 4 assignment for AEP 855. I teach at Strive Prep Lake, which is a charter school in a network of charter schools, Strive Preparatory Schools, and that is housed within Denver Public Schools in Denver, Colorado. So, being from Colorado, also being in a charter school that's housed within a bit larger district, so the assignment was a little bit tricky trying to figure out, but I'm going to give it my best shot. To start, I did make a scoring guide, so kind of based on if it was no evidence, I gave it a 0, implementing 1, transitioning 2, modeling 3, and just kind of went through each of the topics to see how we did. Starting with relationships, not very high with a 1.1. Starting with staff, students, so the best part was with families as far as those relationship components, and then community. Didn't really see any evidence for our school site specifically at the central level. They kind of do a little bit more, but not a whole lot at our school site. Relevance, again, pretty low. Curriculum at a 1.6, instruction. Student engagement obviously being very low, technology being very low. We do, in fact, have one-to-one Chromebooks. However, we're not doing a whole lot with that one-to-one, and there's not a lot of PD around it, anything like that. It was more, hey, let's get computers in these students' hands, and it was more about the technology and based around this idea of the ideas of equity in those things, as opposed to how can we actually use technology to advance our learning. Other things that we have, responsive culture, we scored really high on actually. It's something that we do quite a bit. We do serve a low-income population, a lot of English language learners, mostly Hispanic population, and yeah, we do a lot in terms of having a responsive culture. So that's something that our school can definitely be proud of with the leadership, early childhood, district climate, as well as our nutrition and wellness. So again, scoring really high there, which is really awesome. Last one, rigor, again, pretty low. I could not find any evidence. Also talking to, I actually ended up having to talk to 3 different administrators just because there was kind of information scattered around on what was going on. But as far as career and technical education, nothing really going on there except for counseling for going to college. Professional learning, again, very low. Resources, also pretty low. And then data, we do actually do a pretty good job with our data. So that was a pretty high score. And that's something that has been a really strong initiative this year is owning our data, using data, having data accessible. So that's been a really big push. Okay, so as far as a summary, again, 1.1 for relationships, relevance 1.1, responsive culture 2.4, rigor 1.3. That gives us an overall score of a 1.5. So we're somewhere in between implementing and transitioning. So as a school, pretty low when you're looking at this kind of KESA model. All right, principal leadership style. Not really sure why this is. Yep, but leadership member exchange theory, transformational leadership style is kind of what I see from him mostly. Our principal this year is unexpectedly in his first year of being a principal, so that's something that he definitely will admit himself that he has area of improvement, that being on the side of accountability, holding adults accountable as well as students, and also follow through. So do what you say you're going to do, modeling the way. That is something that I think that he really would like to do, but isn't doing right now. And part of that is because he's being so caught up with the high amount of behavior that we have at our school. So we definitely have some behavioral issues going on at our school. And really, he kind of gets caught up in that a lot. And same thing for our other administrators as well. That takes up most of their time. So how that affects our school with having those high behavioral needs? Well, relationships, students, it's more like, hey, this is what we're going to do because we need you to do this because we need you to be safe. So there's not a whole lot of student input. Again, no real community outreach. As far as relevance, and that would be student engagement in technology, were kind of the biggest areas. So how are we making teaching experiences authentic? How are we engaging students? How are we integrating technology in an effective manner? Lastly was rigor. So again, we have nothing really kind of around that career and technical ed, no like internships, authentic learning experiences, again, where students can be going out into the community, doing things to gain real-world experience. And again, professional learning, just a really low area for us because a lot of our professional development, a lot of our professional learning is focused around management. How are we managing students when there is such a high level of behavioral need? And then the instructional part and the advancement towards student learning kind of goes out the window because we really are focusing on student safety before we can get to that point. So there is a high amount of areas of improvement, and when I was looking at this, I was trying to come up with a kind of common theme and a common theme for how that can be improved. So my plans for improvement are really trying to build in authentic learning experience. That means within classes, there's project-based learning, inquiry-based learning, inquiry-driven learning, hopefully some kind of collaboration with the community, and that can also then lead to the career and technical education improvement. So how is it that we're going to have more authentic learning experience, I think, is kind of that bigger question. And I think the way that you can do that, and at least the way that I would want to start, is through professional development. So teaching teachers how to make authentic learning experiences happen. And also, as an administrator, opening up enough, giving teachers enough autonomy to where that can happen. Not being too restrictive on, hey, you need to teach this thing on this day, which is currently kind of where I'm at. I need to teach a specific lesson on specific days, so that's kind of where it's at. And then lastly, how is it that we can integrate technology within that professional development in order to advance student learning and in order to bring this all together, this authentic learning experience. That also being said, community outreach, so that means me personally outreaching to the community and trying to build relationships, trying to see where is it that our students can serve our community and gain experiences. And then also, that could also mean a designated person or team. So that's something I do believe in as far as building a school community relationship, is having somebody that's designated to actually go out and do that. Like, that is their job, is that they are trying to build that relationship with the community. And again, then how can we connect that to learning and have project-based, collaborative, authentic learning experiences? That's really what it comes down to. And last part, again, how can we all come together to be able to do that? How do we know how to do that? And that starts with that professional development piece. So that would be kind of my plan for improvement. It is pretty weighty, but again, I think it all kind of comes around this authentic learning experience. And really, these are just ways to make that happen. All right, and the standards that go along with that, authentic learning experiences, that would be standard 4D, which does talk about that specifically, authentic to students' experiences. Standard 6C, professional development, so teachers and staff members, professional knowledge, skills, and practice through differentiated opportunities. Definitely not having differentiated right now, so that would be something that I'd really want to look into. And then lastly, community outreach, so meaningful engagement of families and community, building and sustaining productive partnership with public and private sectors to promote school improvement and learning. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed.